welcome back. We're having a bit of musical nostalgia this morning,
We
aren't we,
certainly
on this show? Do you remember your first Now That's What I Call Music album? You do?
Now 10.
Now, I can't remember, because it was Yaz, The Only Way Is Up.
I think that was now 11 or 12.
Now 11 or 12, yeah. So lots of you have been
Just
getting
marking
in
out
touch
that
as well.
you're a bit younger than me. Is that what you're
That's
trying
exactly
to
what
do?
I'm doing.
Okay.
Well, today it's celebrating its 30th birthday. But what you might not know is at the heart of its success lies a chicken and a pig.
Please tell me now.
Music is still just as popular as it was back then.
Well, look, I had a brief flirtation back with Radio 1 back in the day, but Radio 1 legend Mark Goodyear is here with us now. DJ there, Mark. Of course, you did the charts as well, but you were the voice of the Now albums in the 90s too. And did you think at the time, I mean, they'd already been going a fair amount of time then, but do you think they'd go to 30 years and still be as popular as ever?
I had no idea. Kid Jensen had done the first 20, and I started at Now 21, and that just happened to be the time when I started on the Radio 1 chart, and I was doing the evening session where we were playing new music. So as well as the pure pop stuff, I took pride in some of those bands that I was championing, getting into the chart and getting on the Now album. But it is remarkable. You can ask anybody whether they bought a Now album, and nobody will say no. All of your crew this morning, you know, people in makeup, people in the green room, everybody remembers their first Now album.
I got ready for today's programme listening to Hue and Cry, actually, which was on Now 10. But Ricky Young says on Twitter, my first was Now 4, beating us significantly there. My favourite was Now 43. Favourite song, Everybody's Free to Wear Sunscreen. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, loads of you have the original. Di Smiley Wilson says, oh my God, I have the first one on vinyl in the loft. Loved them, as does Jane Savage. Apparently they're worth a lot of money, these now.
In pristine condition, yeah.
Yes.
If you play them too much, probably not. And they do sell on eBay for, you know, decent sums of money, but I wouldn't advise selling them.
No, and what I love the story of how Now That's What I Call Music came about. It's something I didn't even know that.
They had an idea, they got a brand idea, they just did it. It was sort of typical of the record business in those days. They had an idea, they didn't do a focus group, they didn't ask, you know, 10,000 people whether it was a good idea or not. They just did it. And the first one sold 1.1 million copies. So, you know, right from the very beginning, 30 hits, you know, including, you know, in the clip there, the biggest hits of the day. And Virgin at that point, and then later EMI, which sort of joined in, they controlled so many of those 80s hits, so they could really not only, you know, make it a big success, but earn hugely out of it.
Jay Ray on Twitter bought the first one. Fave songs off it, she says, were Paul Young, Wherever I Lay My Hand.
I like
Red
one.
Wine by UB40.
Yeah, Culture Club was on it, Total Eclipse of the Heart was on it. First song on it was You Can't Hurry Love, you know.
Oh, Phil Collins,
yeah.
right?
And was it, do you think that the sort of, the long sort of love with these albums is that you don't actually have to choose a particular artist, you can just sort of have a general eclectic taste and it covers everything?
I tell you what it is, most people love music, not everybody has time to go and buy an album by a singular artist and worry about whether they like 10, 12 or 15 tracks. On this, 3 times a year now gives you this sort of snapshot, 120 tracks nowadays that are the biggest hits of the year.
And the fact that you still sell them on CD.
Yes,
More
yeah,
than downloads.
It's now
It's
86
incredible,
now,
actually.
It's the latest
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, but the download thing, you know, really works because people trust the brand. It's like people trust ITV for popular drama. People trust
And morning
Now
shows, yeah.
and morning shows to give them just the very best.
Absolutely, Mark. Thank you very much.
Great.
Indeed.
It's so lovely to hear your voice again.
really
It's so
is.
nice, isn't it? It's
Really
so
is
lovely.
Whatever happens to Johnny Hates Jazz? All these questions surrounding the Now albums. Anyway, look, let's move on to the weather. Here's Laura now, always a Bon Jovi fan, no matter what album they appear on.
Oh yeah, rocking out to the superstars. And talking of stars, we're going to be stargazing through the next few days because there's a comet hurtling towards the sun.